And I will call the meeting into order.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. I hope everybody can hear us. If not, please let us know. We will begin the meeting with a roll call to ensure we have a quorum. Commissioner Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Cousins is absent. Commissioner Wolf is absent at the moment. Commissioner Zappos,
Here.
Commissioner Decker,
Here.
Commissioner McPherson.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you, everybody. First thing, order of business is to approve the minutes for October 2024. Are there any questions?
No, I'll make that motion. And I'll second it.
Motion is made by Commissioner Smith and seconded by Commissioner Decker. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed have the same right. The motion carries. Second order of business is the approval of accounts payable for October 2024. Are there any questions?
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Smith and seconded by Commissioner Decker. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed have the same right. The motion carries. Next, we will go on to the Executive Director report. First thing I want to discuss or talk about is our redevelopment process. We are still working on redevelopment. It is a long and arduous task, but it is a process and we're moving forward. We are working towards meeting the suggestions or modifying our project with the recommendations from HCR so that we can reduce our gap and we can, working towards getting the green light for development. So if there's any further or as further developments come, we will let everyone know. Secondly, I did attend the HCDPA meeting, and I want to thank HCDPA who approved the option agreement extension. I let the redevelopment committee know that that was one of the highlights of the meeting that we at our meeting. I also informed the redevelopment committee that they recommended to me that the board would like to exercise the option to extend the acquisition of two parcels that are on the list, one in Front Street as well as the community garden site, which is on Columbia and State Street. It was further recommended that we, talk with HCDPA and negotiate, the next portion of the agreement so that we can line up the closing time with the project so things will be in order. So in other words, we're asking for the ability to negotiate that with them, but we will be making the committee is making the recommendation that we move forward and we'll be voting on that tonight. And that was the next thing, the committee planned to present the same to the board for approval. We also discussed, just to FYI, we also discussed what format we wanted to present committee updates to the public. And we did not decide on a timeline, but when there are things that are significant, I would report out in the executive director report, and the redevelopment committee would basically co-sign any recommendations that were made. If they weren't made, the committee members would be here to say, no, that's not what we agreed to, and we would not move forward. But that's not likely. That's not how we will order. I would just report out exactly what happened in terms of what we agreed to or what was talked about and make a recommendation to the board to move forward. Also, we have an election coming up. There are two candidates for resident commissioners because we have our resident commissioner offices staggered. And so one term is up this coming December, the end of December. So we have two resident commissioners who have been chosen to run or voted by the people by petition. That's Mary Decker and Robert Davis. The election will be held on Monday, December 16th. Early voting will begin on December 2nd, 2024. Ballots will be accepted in the office of the Housing Authority from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The ballots will be available to each resident 18 years or older. Ballots must be completed in person at the administrative office unless there's a particular circumstances, as we've discussed before, and we've made put in our rules. You can contact the office and we'll make arrangements so that you can ensure that you vote within that time. The last date to cast the ballot will be December 16th, 2024. And also on December 2nd, a candidate forum will be held at 3 p.m. in the community room. All candidates that are running will be required to attend, and that will be so that residents can ask questions about what their plans are or of being in office and things of that nature. The next thing is, unfortunately, the large car on the elevator is down again. The parts are on order. In fact, I've written a check to them today for 100% of the down payment. But I'd like to make a recommendation that we all, as a board and as the Housing Authority, keep our eyes open for funding or emergency funding that we can try to acquire so that we can maintain Bliss and Columbia apartments until such time as development actually comes to fruition and we can move the people out of the building. And last thing is, there was a resident meeting held on 11/6. There were about 5 people at the meeting, 5 residents that attended the meeting, and as opposed to a normal, I typically come and have an agenda and talk to residents about different things, but this time, particularly because it was a small group, I allowed each person to, voice their concerns or ask any questions, and so that we could have a productive meeting, and we did. And that is it for the executive director report.
Has Josh Riley ever been here before? The Housing Authority.
Josh Riley?
Josh Riley's our new representative-elect.
Oh, no, I just realized what you're talking about. Yes, he had.
He has?
Well, outside.
Okay,
I don't think he's been in the building. I mean, not since I've been here, but I've met him before he left the district when
when they did all the shuffling.
Exactly.
No, I think you're thinking of Pat Ryan.
Pat Ryan, it's very similar names, yeah.
Correct, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm talking
I don't
about.
think he has.
Yes.
Forgive me.
That might be a good thing to get him here
Right.
in January, I guess, once he's in
Well,
office.
yeah, and Jeff and I have had discussion on getting out to Josh, and we're gonna be going to his swearing in. So,
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got them confused. You're correct.
Yeah.
So,
That could be a great first thing for him to do in office is
100%.
help secure some funds for us to make
Yep.
sure that we've got elevators working all the time.
Agreed. And so if there's any opportunities for special funding, because the building does need to be secured, and we're, unfortunately, the elevator folks, while they're like the only game in town, almost, it seems, Otis, I don't hesitate to, let them know how I feel about their responsiveness or lack thereof. And, this recent situation, they explained to me that the only way to get to basically skip the line, well, they had a policy, let me just say that first, that you have to pay 100% of the of whatever is owed as a down payment or a percentage, which of course would cost more. But if you pay 100%, they would then order the parts. And that's what I was reprimanding about, like, this is dangerous, we have people, and it's a serious situation, but they are apparently very busy. And the only way to skip the line is to, pay them overtime, which is outrageous for them to come, fix it, so, we're waiting for the part, they say they've ordered it already, so I'm just waiting to be scheduled. And I actually wrote a check to them today, so, we'll see what happens. It's gonna get fixed. I just wanted to be fixed yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the point. All right. Are there any public comments from the residents? That's the next item on the agenda, resident public comment. Is there any public comment from the residents? Going once, going twice? There is none. There is no new business. The next order of business is a resolution number 551. 552, thank you, regarding the option agreement. Resolution number 552 reads, whereas the Hudson Housing Authority has directed staff to develop and strategize to locate and to redevelop replacement housing for the residents of Bliss Tower. Whereas the Hudson Housing Authority staff have worked closely with the city of Hudson to identify properties that may be suitable for development. Whereas the Hudson Community Development and Planning Agency, HCDPA, entered into an extended an option agreement with the Hudson Housing Authority, which provides the authority with the exclusive option to purchase several properties in the city of Hudson for development of replacement housing. Whereas in consultation with the city, the Hudson Housing Authority's development partner, the New York State Homes and Community Renewal and Redevelopment Subcommittee, it was recommended that the Hudson Housing Authority extend the option to purchase 2 of the sites contained in the option agreement and pay the option amount to HCDPA. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the Executive Director to negotiate and execute an amended option agreement with HCDPA as described herein. And that's the wrong date, but I'll correct that. Are there any questions? Welcome, Commissioner Wolf. Are there any questions? May I have a motion?
I make the
Motion.
motion.
Oh, you got there first.
Commissioner Decker makes a motion. Anybody second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zako. We'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Zakos, Commissioner Decker,
Aye.
Commissioner McPherson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wolf.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you for that. Next order of business, there's no need for executive session today, correct? Okay, next order of business is public comment. Does anybody has public comment?
Jeff, could you refresh us how many properties were in play? And I heard you want the one in front and across the street.
Right, and it's actually more than one parcel. They combine those
Right, I
properties,
know.
but I didn't
But
know.
were there a couple others that were pretty off at one point?
I started to bring that paper in with me, but there was about 20 properties. There were some on there that really
Oh, yeah.
weren't mapped out.
Okay.
So legitimately, I'd say about 15
Oh, there
properties.
was.
Yeah,
I realized that.
but they're small parcels.
Right.
And lots of times they needed to be put together to make
Okay.
something that was substantial. There were some that we declined to pursue that were right here on the State Street side, but they're on the drop off.
That's what I was.
Right, and so that would prove to be costly, so we decided to
Still, that's what I mean.
But we've heard repeatedly that scattered site housing is something that the community is looking for, so we wanted to
Right.
prioritize integrating that into the project.
Exactly. Thank you for that. Are there-
Hugo, I think you had your hand raised.
Sure, thanks, Nick. Jeff, thank you for the detailed readout. Just a sort of curious question. The election, do you guys use the election board of overseers across the street, or sort of who's in charge of that? I'm just curious, since you guys are a public entity, if there's like a third party you can get involved just to make everyone feel that it was done nice and audited or whatever. We live in 2024 in America.
I believe we did do a process a few years ago with our lawyers of drafting a whole election procedure that they
Approved, right.
approved and said
As
it
well as
was
the
in.
board, and the election is done in accordance with that process, and we've actually done it, this is be my 3rd year actually doing it. And it's been uneventful, and has run very smoothly, so.
I don't ever remember getting a complaint about the way that it was run, or if things were unfair, if anything was done improperly, but we can definitely look out for that.
No, I mean, that's great. I mean, if that sort of I just be curious if you can post that on the website or Nick, I can email you or something. But that sounds like a great process, and you guys are on top of it. Next
Well,
question.
Just to address that, just to share with you, it's an internal process, right? Because it's for the residents. So if there would be any gripes about it, they would make it. And they are the ones who I don't vote at all. They are the ones who participate in their rules that, just to give you an idea, since you asked, they have to be least compliant to vote and run. And it is not limited to people that live here in the building, people, that are, recipients, or active recipients of Section 8 vouchers are able to participate as well.
Let me get it, the, parcel that you're declining is the one like on the corner of State and Front, that, because that's the one where you.
Well, there's a few on that side. I think
Yeah,
it's like three.
so like you were going to cut through, the original plan called for cutting through Lombard Street. Now that's no longer in the picture, right? Because that,
Which is.
The extension of First.
Oh,
It used
okay.
to be called Lombard.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. So what's your question?
okay, so I just wanted, so the one on Front Street that you're still interested in is the one across from the Chamber of Commerce building?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Any other questions? Thank you for helping me with the hands there, because I didn't see. Anybody else have any questions?
It's a good question. I do remember the last iteration of drawings was that the Lombard Street was not in the last set of plans. Is that right? Yeah.
The extension?
Yeah.
What I'll say, I don't think we finalized
Okay.
that. They're working on, presenting something to us. So I still envision the first one to,
Right.
the first until something changes. So that's all I have is what I'm saying. There hasn't been a presentation of something different just yet, but they're working on it. Okay. Are there any other questions? Commissioners, Tom? Any commissioners have anything to say? Ask? That means everybody. Commissioner Wolf, are you still there? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
No second.
Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Zako, seconded by Commissioner Decker. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed have the same right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Have a good night,
Have a great
everybody.
night.
Good night.